devices that you'll be used, but I like to actually assign
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our camera. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
I decided if I was going to come to Indiana Tech, I was going to be a different kind of instructor. I was really going to focus on connecting with students, teaching the students the theory that they needed and also the practical applications.
Very practically, what that looks like is smaller class sizes. So my class sizes are the 8 to 10 up to maybe 20. And that's backed up with we have 18 hours of office hours every week. I'm sitting in my office waiting for students to come in to talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be with the classroom.
In the College of Engineering, we have ABET accreditation for mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and biomedical engineering. ABET is the top accrediting board for engineering in the United States and probably in the world.
Another thing that is a very different approach at Indiana Tech, I think, that some other universities, is we try and make sure they have a lot of lab experience in the engineering department. All engineering programs are going to have laboratory courses, but in our laboratory courses we try to get them not just exposure to measurements and exposure to some of the devices that you'll be used, but I like to actually assign projects that are, realistic projects.
Those projects, this project-based learning, help students to work together in a group and be hands-on with their the material or the product that they're creating. Engineering students at Indiana Tech to me, stand out because I know that they've had a lot of experiences working in groups, working on projects, doing lab experiments to help them understand the material, and I think that prepares them well for industry.
First thing I'll tell a high school student is study, study, study. Get all the math you can possibly get. I honestly believe that the critical thinking skills you learn in math courses will help you with engineering courses.
The type of knowledge base that students should have coming in, they need to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Those two things are really the essence of engineering. Regardless of flavor, they're going to need to figure out, there's a problem here, how do I solve it? And they need to think critically about that. They need to observe, listen to people, and then kick in those problem-solving skills to solve the problem.
Part of the growth of Indiana Tech has involved an increasing number of international students. So I think if we can expose students to different ideas, different cultures, again, it makes them that much more competitive in the marketplace.
In the Fort Wayne area, we have lots of large companies, BAE Systems, Fort Wayne Metals, General Motors, Raytheon, Harris Corporation, and the list goes on. We have a lot of employers that want our engineering students.
Indiana Tech, I think, continues to serve students even beyond their graduation. We really strive to keep in touch with our alumni on a personal level just to see how they're doing, but then also they want to give back to the university because of the experiences they've had here, so they want to provide opportunities for other students here as well.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a WAC Conference Tournament doubleheader today here at Indiana Tech and the Schaefer Center on the campus of Indiana Tech. This broadcast, as usual, is brought to you by SummitCitySports.com. I'm Thad Goff. Ahmad Williams is my cameraman, and today it's the Indiana Tech men taking on Rochester, and later this afternoon, the Indiana Tech women take on Cornerstone. That's a 5:30 tip-off. This game set to start here in about 6 minutes. Indiana Tech, of course, was first place in the WAC Conference this year. They recently won their first round game against Aquinas, winning that one by 15 points, and now they come here to take on this Rochester team that comes in at 20-9 on the season. Rochester finished the regular season on a 3-game winning streak, including 2 road wins against the likes of Lawrence Tech and University of Northwest Ohio. Their last loss was against Indiana Tech. 85-58 was the final score of that game. Rochester is the 4th seed in the WAC Conference Tournament. Indiana Tech is the 1st seed. They are ranked 6th overall in the NAIA poll. Now, Indiana Tech also had a number of guys who were named to the WAC Conference All-Conference team. I'll give you a look at some of that information in just a second here, but actually most of their starting lineup was named All-Conference, including Raj Stein, Corey McKinney, Grant Smith, and Josh Klein. Raj Stein, by the way, was the Conference Player of the Year this year. He was first-team All-WAC, as is Josh Klein. Corey McKinney was named Defensive Player of the Year. He's second-team All-WAC. Grant Smith was named second-team All-WAC as well. And Ted Albert is this year's Conference Coach of the Year. It's the 3rd time he has received that honor during his career as the head coach of the Warriors. And this is their 3rd regular season title in the last 4 years. Of course, the Warriors made it to the WAC Conference Championship last year, where they were defeated by Lourdes. And it could very well be Lourdes who they end up playing in the conference tournament, should they make it that far. They got to take care of business against Rochester first. Lourdes is in action today against Madonna. That's a 3 p.m. start, so that game will start the same time this game gets started. We'll give you some looks to that score as we go on throughout the series of this game. Well, we're going to have the national anthem here shortly as the semifinals of the WAC Conference Tournament get set to take place. Indiana Tech ready to take on Rochester in the semifinal round of the WAC Conference Tournament. By the way, you heard the name Gunnar Walters announced moments ago. He was named WAC Conference Newcomer of the Year. James Ballard was also nominated for the second team All-Conference. James Fisher and Gunnar Walters were named to the WAC All-Freshman team. Ballard this year is named to the WAC All-Defensive team as the tip is won by Rochester to start this game out. It's the Rochester Warriors versus the Indiana Tech Warriors. And the winner, of course, moves on to the championship round, which I believe at this point is scheduled for Tuesday. That's going to be a foul on Grant Smith. Oh, wait a second, a jump ball. And it's going to go right back to the Warriors. They'll get their first possession of the game. Stavros Polatoglu was the one who was blocked on the inside. It's men first and then women's to follow. The women take on Cornerstone. That's a 5:30 tip. Grant Smith with a lob inside to Josh Klein. He makes the catch and scores against two defenders. This is James Ballard Jr. with the ball. He's a native of Susan, California. They go with the backdoor cut, and the basket is good for Anthony Kukoc. Klein sets the screen. Stein had it batted in the air. He's able to recover. Defender falls down, almost gets the takeaway. Stein on the drive, hits the jumper with the shot clock winding down. Nearly an empty possession, and Rod Stein is able to make it count. I think that was Gunnar Walters who was defending Blake Davison, and even when he went to the ground, he continued to stay with him. It was either him or Kukoc. That shot is good. Stavros Polatoglu, transfer from Northwestern State University, and Rochester staying with Indiana Tech. Early on in this one, Stein trying to get by Ballard, and a foul is called. It was before the shot. The basket will not count.
Personal foul for Rochester, number 1, James Ballard, his first, team's first.
Inbound goes to Stein. Klein one-on-one with Polatoglu on the block, and Klein wins the battle. Josh Klein with 4 early points in this one. That's Gunnar Walters with a jumper, and he hits it. Well, each team has been able to match point for point. Rochester has answered every time Indiana Tech has scored. Klein sets the screen for Corey McKinney. It's a 27-point win last time Rochester was here. That ball's poked away, and Rochester gets their first stop of the game. Kukoc down the baseline, gets past Blake Davison. And that's corralled by Brandon Macrina. Polatoglu comes out to set the screen. Long pass for Macrina. Macrina's floater is good. And Rochester takes their first lead of the game. 8-6, just 3 minutes in. Rochester is a 20-win team, 20-9 on the season. Grant Smith will get his own rebound and puts it back. Ball got loose and almost went toward the locker room there. Actually, I think it did go toward the locker room. But Grant Smith was the one who recovered it. Smith with the putback, meanwhile. Gunnar Walters, the freshman out of Rochester Hills, Michigan. That's the town that Rochester University is located in. Left-handed layup is good, and that's Anthony Kukoc. Rochester's right back in front, 10-8. Josh Klein's had a good day so far on the block. They get it to him here. He looks to go to work against Polatoglu. Grant Smith has the look and hits a three. Indiana Tech goes on top. But quick down the floor goes Kukoc. Check that, it's Walters trying to get around McKinney, And McKinney is going to be called for the block. He thought it was an offensive foul. Walters fakes. He's going to go baseline. He had the screen from Polatoglu. Walters, the pull-up, too strong. Offensive board. Klein had a chance at it. It's Kukoc who puts it in, though. Back and forth they go here at the Schaefer Center early on as Blake Davison goes for the pull-up, but can't connect. Klein rips away the board. Second chance for Indiana Tech. Smith has one made three already. He leans into the shot here. It's too strong, but that's going out of bounds off the knee of Gunnar Walters. Grant Smith is coming off a game against Aquinas where he hit 3 threes. He was the leading scorer for that game, scored 19 points. Stein comes up short on the shot, battling for the rebound, and it's Ballard who comes up with it for Rochester. Ballard trying to get by Klein. Has to go outside instead to Gunnar Walters. Long cross-court pass. The shot clock is down to 7. 3 ball, too strong. Anthony Kukoc with a miss, and here comes McKinney. McQuinney with a quick motor. Check that, McKinney. Got my words mixed up there. As Josh Klein has it on the outside, he'll look to back down. Cross court to Davison. Smith, the shot fake. Now fires a 3 and drains it. Contested 3 by Grant Smith. Or did they call it a 2? Apparently had a foot on the line. The runner on the baseline, it's good. That's Kukoc. Check that, Gunnar Walters with the bucket for Rochester, and a timeout is called. Well, it's a back and forth game so far here at the Schaefer Center. We're back in just a moment here on this broadcast of Warrior Basketball.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Well, Rochester giving Indiana Tech a battle. The Warriors won by 27 the last time they played Rochester. But Rochester has won 4 straight, including the first round playoff game against Cornerstone ever since that game. Road wins against Lawrence Tech and a home win against Siena Heights. That's the regular season slate for Rochester, and they're trying to get back at Indiana Tech for giving them their last loss. Steve Helm recently into the game, so is Lucas Lehrman, and Helm throws it up and puts it in. That shot was partially blocked, and Helm still put it home. Ted Albert likes to use his bench quite frequently, and the Warriors turn it over. Warriors of Rochester, that is. Walters was trying to find James Fisher on a little pick and roll action. Helm finds Stein. He'll fake the 3. Drives inside, and Stein puts it home. Rod Stein, the WAC Conference Player of the Year, and that's back-to-back buckets for Indiana Tech. Trying to get their first run going as James Ballard answers for Rochester. James Ballard Jr., the senior out of California, gets his first bucket, and Smith gets around the screen from Lehrman. He lobs it to him, and Lehrman, right under the backboard, will put it home. Lehrman, the local kid, he's from right here in Fort Wayne, went to Bishop Dwenger High School. By the way, Bishop Dwenger's boys basketball team will be playing sectional ball at Garrett High School. That ball's out of bounds off of the Warriors of Rochester. Gunnar Walters was the one who touched it last. Max Perez, another frequent player off the bench for Indiana Tech, comes into the game. Ted Albert likes to dig into his bench, and the guys who come in off his bench are often very productive. Max Perez is one of the better three-point shooters on this team. Lucas Lehrman sets the screen. Perez has the look. A screen off the ball by Lehrman, but the three doesn't fall. It's Fisher who collects for Rochester. Here's Demarion Bonds, a freshman out of Pontiac, Michigan. Ballard almost let that one get away. Pontiac, Michigan was once the home of the Detroit Lions, as that jumper is good by James Ballard Jr., senior out of California. Lions now play in downtown Detroit at Ford Field. Pontiac was where the Silverdome was located. Rod Stein on the drive, spins around, tough shot high off the window, and it's Fisher who collects the board. Ballard has Stein on him. Walters, WAC Conference Freshman of the Year, newcomer of the year rather. And here's Ballard on the drive, left-handed layup, too strong. Stein collects and finds Steve Helm. Steve Helm feeds it over to Perez. Perez went for the reverse, no good. And in a tough angle, Rochester collects. That was Demarion Bonds who collected. Ballard's three won't fall. McKinney, the lob to Lehrman, double team, swings it outside to Perez. Helm is open. His three is good. Steve Helm from downtown. Thought for a second we might have a timeout there, but instead Ted Albert is going to get some more subs into the game. Jeremy Luciani will check in. That's actually the only sub that comes in for now. He'll give Rod Stein a breather. 11-11 to go, and this has kind of been the standard for Ted Albert and these Warriors. The starters, they might play about 5 to 8 minutes, and Ted Albert will start digging into his bench, and he'll dig some more into his bench as the game goes on. James Fisher gets fouled. Of course, he'll obviously get the starters back in there, but Ted Albert has such a good group of bench players that these guys get a lot of minutes on the floor early and often. Right now it's all bench players except for McKinney on the floor for Indiana Tech. As James Fisher, the freshman out of Armada, Michigan, steps to the line, and Fisher is able to hit his free throw. Fisher with his first point of this game. James Fisher's a freshman who averages 6.7 points per game. Leading scorer for Rochester this year is James Ballard. So far he's got 4 points. Lehrman sets the screen for Steve Helm. Brady Titus now into the game. He'll take the place of Corey McKinney. So it's all bench players on the floor. Titus can hit from out there, but he missed that one. We just saw Helm hit a three earlier. Offensive foul. They call it on Helm. He must have reached out with the elbow or something. I didn't see much there, but they do call it. Walters gets around Helm. The left-handed shot, no good. ripped away by Lehrman, and he dishes the ball out just in time. Lehrman gets it down low, has it knocked away. Luciani trying to collect, and it's Walters who snatches it from him. Traveling's going to be called. Demarion Bonds took a couple extra steps with the basketball. Inbound's going to come to the sideline. Lehrman at the top of the key. He finds Perez. Perez looked like he had an opening there, short on the jump shot. Perez, a really good shooter, couldn't knock that one down. High screen set by Ballard. Walters gets it to him, and now Ballard's called for traveling. Head coach Clint Pleasant not happy about that call, but nonetheless it goes back to the Warriors. Lucas Lehrman will get it. He goes toward the block, calling for it. He gets it. Lehrman toward the paint, up with a shot. He's got it. Lucas Lehrman, the graduate student. He's got 4 early points off the bench for Indiana Tech as they lead it by 4. Ballard sets the high screen. Ballard fakes the shot. Walters drives, was contacted. Max Perez called for the foul. That's the 4th team foul against Indiana Tech. Brandon Macrina re-enters the game. Macrina is averaging 10.1 points per game. Rochester's got 4 guys averaging double figures in points per game this year. Macrina for 3, it's too strong. Would have made it a 1-point ball game. Steve Helm collects for Tech. Titus recovers, finds Lehrman. Lehrman against the double team. Perez for 3, yes! Max Perez from downtown. Indiana Tech did have a 15-point lead in the game against Aquinas on Tuesday night. That lead almost slipped away. They ended up winning the game by 15. A great run in the second half to help the Warriors close it out. Grant Smith was the leading scorer for that game. He had 19 points as Lehrman does set a screen. Titus finds Perez. Perez will let it fly again. Short that time. Ball swatted around, and Luciani goes after it. That ball was batted around almost like a volleyball. It is men's volleyball season, by the way. Women's season is over, and the men's season still well underway. I think Ryan Dellinger has a few more broadcasts coming up as Brady Titus hits the jumper on the baseline. The freshman out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Ted Albert's going to get one of his starters back in the game soon. A few of his starters, actually. Rod Stein, Blake Davison, and Josh Klein are at the scorer's table, and they will all check in right now. Steve Helm called for that foul. Well, the fouls are in favor of Indiana Tech, which in this case is not a good thing. They've committed 5 fouls, only 1 committed by Rochester. Walters through traffic. He goes long. Stein looked like he had a chance to catch that one. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's 6'6". He had a chance to snatch that one away. Shot clock is at 2. Bonds got it off. Did the ball hit the rim? They say no. And it goes as a shot clock violation. Titus finds Perez. Klein goes down. He's able to avoid a travel, slips it back out to Perez. Stein is open. He can shoot the 3, but Perez, also a reliable 3-point shooter, but that one doesn't fall. Slowing down is Walters. He dished it out just in time. I think Ted Albert was wanting a travel call, and so were some of the home fans. Step back jumper, Kukoc. No good. It's Klein with the board, and here comes Stein. Stein weaving through traffic. The dish. Perez. The three ball. Book it. Second three of the game for Max Perez, and a game that was back and forth is now close. And we are right back after this timeout on this broadcast of Warrior basketball.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
Well, it was a close game early on, but Indiana Tech has pulled it to a 12-point lead. Now, it's worth mentioning, Indiana Tech is supposed to have their baseball home opener today. The sky was looking a little cloudy. We're supposed to get highs of 42 degrees. We're supposed to have their home opener against St. Ambrose University of Iowa. Now, as I was driving by the ball field on my way here to the Schaefer Center, which I got here at about 1:10, didn't look like there was anything going on. The grandstands looked empty. Now, who knows? Maybe it's just a sparse crowd and the game has started. Softball's in action this weekend as well. We'll let you know more about that later on. Here's a fake by Perez. He's hit 2 threes since coming in the game, and Klein is fouled on the inside. Well, right now, Indiana Tech got both subs and starters on the court. Ted Albert likes to dig into his bench. His starters are plenty capable, but so are the guys off his bench. And right now, he's got a mix of both types of guys in the game, as Josh Klein will go to the free throw line. Now, Blake Davison, he's a sophomore getting to start. He's the only sophomore getting to start for Indiana Tech. He's the only non-graduate student these days getting to start for the Warriors. Warriors are expected to add another transfer athlete in Carson Jenkins, the former Snyder Panther. Now, Carson was a guy who could light it up, could score 20-plus points on any given night. Even had a knack for knocking down some long threes. And now the rest of the starters come into the game for Indiana Tech. Corey McKinney and Grant Smith re-enter. Here's Anthony Kukoc awaiting the screen. He gets it. That screen set by Brandon Macrina. We're down to 9 seconds on the shot clock. Polatoglu either lost it or slipped it off, but either way, Klein stayed with him and blocked Demarion Bonds' shot. Davison to the basket with hands right in front of him. Are you kidding me? Blake Davison, the Leo grad, guy who played in a state championship in high school and almost led his Leo Lions back for a win, and he causes a turnover here, knocks it right to McKinney. Smith out on the run, gets ahead of the pack and scores. In what was a back-and-forth game, Indiana Tech has stretched it out to a 16-point lead. And a little transition opportunity there created by Blake Davison, capped off by Grant Smith. And Smith had a little miscommunication there with Klein, but he does get the rebound in the end. Rod Stein is open. He'll let it fly. No good. Bonds collects it for Rochester. Polatoglu sets the screen. They feed it to him on the screen and roll right around Klein, but the shot rolls off. Stein is right there. Stein weaving through traffic. 1-on-2. Count it! And a foul! Rod Stein, with little room to work with, it was no trouble at all. Brandon Macrina called for that foul, and Stein with a chance at a three-point play. Had two defenders right around him, and Stein able to put it in, and he caps off the three-point play. 19-point lead for Tech, their largest of the game. Ballard has it poked away. It's Stein. He just completed a three-point play, and he's going back to the line. James Ballard got him from behind. Stein capped off a transition bucket earlier, and we'll try to show you at least one of these replays. See if we can't show them both to you. That was Rod Stein getting the rebound, and he said, I'll take this one, right through two defenders, and just found a soft spot at that basket. They'll find the back iron there for the first free throw. Moments ago, it was Stein hustling after the steal, and he got it. Had a chance at another three-point play. He didn't get that, but he did just hit his second free throw. That's 5 straight points for Stein. In one case, it was a result of good rebounding, and another case was a result of stingy defense, as Walters looks to take McKinney into the paint. Rolls right off. Walters had a great look. Here's Stein again, rises up and hits. Rod Stein is feeling it. He's got the last 7 points for Indiana Tech. Kukoc finally slows the run for the moment. Davison looks to attack, wants the Euro step. He's called for the charge. That's been one of the few bugaboos in this game for Indiana Tech. Now, they haven't yet put Rochester into the bonus, but the next foul will be the 7th team foul. And once that's committed, Rochester will be in the bonus. This is Brian Toney on the drive, and he is fouled. The basket will count. Blake Davison thought he was straight up the whole way. The official says there was contact. Tony's from River Rouge, Michigan. I wonder how far that is from the town of Dearborn. I say that because Dearborn, Michigan is home to the Henry Ford Museum and Ford F-150 factory, originally known as the Henry Ford Rouge. Tony will not complete the three-point play here. Indiana Tech had stretched the lead out to 22 not too long ago, actually 23. Grant Smith trying to help get some momentum back. They really haven't lost momentum. Lehrman stepped out of bounds. They haven't lost momentum, but for the moment, Rochester making a little bit of a run. They've scored the last 5 points. Now, of course, that was after falling behind by 23. But there is a lot of basketball left to be played. Indiana Tech won by 27 last time Rochester was here. They get the ball inside, and Polatoglu is able to finish. 7 straight points for the Warriors of Rochester. Lehrman, his strength is playing down in the post, and they had him away from the post right there. Here's Stein. Throws it to Smith, and Smith's pass stolen away. Toney with the lob. It's Bonds. floats it up, missed the shot, thrown right to Smith, knocked away toward the backcourt, and then a foul called on McKinney. He was going after the ball. That ball was bouncing toward the backcourt, and in the end, it's McKinney who commits a foul. And Rochester's in the 1-1. Indiana Tech was up by 23 not too long ago. They've given up 9 straight points. This is Gunnar Walters at the line, make it 10 straight points that Tech has given up. He missed the second. So I believe it's 8 straight points that Tech has given up as Smith is looking for help. He finds Titus. Titus into the paint, off balance. Lehrman collects, and he's fouled with 6 on the timer. That was on the shot, so Lucas Lehrman will go to the free throw line. Braylon Toney called for the foul. Lehrman able to stop the drought. Strange to think that Indiana Tech was on a drought while being down by 15. They were up 23, though, not too long ago. 1 for 2 goes Lehrman. The rebound comes to Toney. Kukoc sets the high screen for Gunnar Walters. Gunnar around the screen. Corner 3 by James Ballard. Check that, it's Braylon Toney, and it wouldn't fall. Smith down the floor. Had to wait for Stein to get across the timeline. Lehrman one-on-one, lost the ball, and poked right back into the hands of Anthony Kukoc. To the corner for Walters. Well, fake there by Kukoc. His 3 won't fall. Indiana Tech can hold for the final shot of the half. They've been held to just 1 point in the span of the last minute and a half. But they can close out the half with the final field goal. Here's Stein. The dish to Lehrman, and they turn it over again. And traveling is going to be the call. Walters took a couple extra steps before he got the pass off, and there's 4.9 on the clock, and Indiana Tech will get to inbound the ball on the plus side of the court. Well, if you're looking for somebody to take a 3, Max Perez is plenty capable of that, but they're going to have him down near the baseline to start out this play. Lob goes to Lehrman. Perez off the catch and shoot. Hits a 3 to close out the half. A 19-point lead for Indiana Tech here at halftime. The Warriors looking to move on to the WAC Conference Championship game. We are back after this on this broadcast of Warrior Basketball, brought to you by SummitCitySports.com.
Hi, I'm Paxton, and I'll be your tour guide today. Behind me, we have Pearson Hall. This is one of our freshman dorms on campus. Today, I'll be showing you dorm rooms. Come inside. The only way to get into campus is if you have an ID card, so you'll have to swipe into all the dorms. And then over here, we have an intercom system. So through every dorm, we have these dial buttons within the dorm rooms and then outside. So say you're visiting somebody, you don't live here, you would dial their room number, and then you can actually call their room, and they can unlock the doors to the dorm through the intercom system, and you can talk to them. They can see you through a camera, and they can unlock the doors for you, so they don't have to leave the room. It's really nice to have. So right here, we just have our main lobby. Every floor has a lobby. In the lobbies, we just have TVs and stuff. You can watch movies, play video games. You can hang out with friends, do homework, play card games. It's just a nice little hangout area to have. And then right here, this is what we call our RA office. So every single night, there will be an RA in the office. They're just there for your needs if you have any issues with like toilets or sinks or anything being clogged. They'll always be in there for your help. If you have questions about anything, you can always come see an RA here. And then over here, we have mailboxes. Every student has a mailbox. They are really small. The only thing they can fit is like card-sized items. Throughout campus, you'll see our mail room when you go on your actual tour later on, and that will be in one of our other buildings where you'll receive bigger packages. All right, so here's the laundry room. So in the laundry room, you don't have to save quarters or use quarters. I know it says 25 cents, but it is included with living on campus. And then there's one on every floor and every side of floor, so there's 2 on every floor in Pearson. So every student has keys to their dorm. And then as you come in, you will see our intercom system right here that I talked about in the entranceway. So this is where you would like unlock the door for visitors, talk to them. And then one really nice thing about it is there is a security guard button right there. So if you were to have somebody like calling your room constantly at like 5 o'clock in the morning because some student forgot their keys, you could actually press the security guard button and it will lock them in that little box that we entered to into the dorm. It'll lock both the outside doors and the inside doors and call security. So it also has a nice safety measure within your room. You don't even have to leave your room for that. So it's really nice. And then as we enter in this way, you'll see this is the half of our room looks like. So there's this, and then on the other side of the suite, there's a mirrored room that looks exactly like this. The desk, the dressers, and the closets, and all of the drawers and stuff all come with. You can decorate it any way you'd like, and then like mini fridges, TVs, anything like that you would bring here. And then through here we have our bathroom. So then as we come into the bathroom, you'll see that this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then as you come through, there's one shower shared between the 2 rooms, and then this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then there's the mirrored room right here. So then they share a little common space out there, and then this is the exact same stuff, and it's all the same. Here we have Calflesh. This is our other freshman dorm on campus. It is across the street from main campus. We'll be showing another freshman dorm, the laundry room, and then the hangout lobby area. Come on in. So same thing as Pearson. To get into the dorms, you have to have a swipe card that unlocks and lets you in. All right, and then we have the same intercom system as we do in Pearson, and it runs throughout all of the dorms. And then in here is the lobby area where all the students hang out. We have like a TV so people can hook up like Xboxes or anything like that, DVD players, you can watch movies. I know RAs put on a bunch of activities down here. They do like movie nights with hot chocolate during the winter. We've done like pumpkin carving, and we watch a Halloween movie, and so that's all done down here. And then it's the same thing over here. You can do some studying, you can hang out with friends, you can eat dinner if you want, and like I said, you can hang out with your RA, hang out with your friends, do homework, but follow me to the next part. So same thing as Pearson, every student has keys to their dorm. So when you first walk in, it's different than Pearson where there's no like 2 mirrored room. It's just one room with 2 students. The shelves, the desk, the drawers, all of the beds and stuff all come with. And then over here, it's the same for Pearson and Calflesh. You can control the air condition and the heat for the room, not the entire dorm, which is so nice because then it's between you and your roommate, not through hundreds of people in one building. And then as we walk over here, you'll see that the sink is outside of the bathroom, which is so nice because obviously if your roommate's showering, you don't have to worry about not being able to brush your teeth or even use the sink or get a drink of water or anything like that. And then as we walk over here, you'll see only 2 roommates to 1 bathroom. And then the shelving space. And then instead of Pearson where they have closets, you would have this whole shelving space and hanger area. And then same thing as Pearson, we have the intercom system over here where you can press the security guard button, you can talk to them, and then see them through the camera. Calflesh also has mailboxes. They're the same size. They fit card-sized items. And again, if you have any bigger packages, we do have a mailroom on campus. So then through here, this is the laundry room. The difference between Pearson and Cowflesh is Cowflesh, there's only one in the whole building and it's on the first floor, whereas Pearson has them on every floor. But it is the same, as they are included with living here, so you don't have to use quarters. It's free to the students. And that concludes the tour. Thanks for coming with. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your counselor. Hope to see you around campus. Go Warriors!
Well, Indiana Tech with a 47-28 lead over Rochester here at the end of one half, and we'll show you how Tech closed out the half. They got the final possession of the half. Rochester was making a little run, but Max Perez had just enough space to knock down the three. That's his third triple of the game. And that was the final bucket of the first half. Still trying to get a score on that baseball game against St. Ambrose that Indiana Tech was supposed to be playing over the Warrior baseball field today. That game was scheduled to start at noon, at least according to the website. But again, I did not see anybody at the baseball field on my way to the Schaefer Center today. Meanwhile, we will get you the live stats for this game here in just a moment. Rochester currently, their leading scorer is Anthony Kukoc with 9 points. Gunnar Walters has 5. James Ballard with 4. Stavros Polatoglu with 4 also. Braylon Toney with 2. Brandon Macrina with 2. James Fisher with 2. Tech is led in scoring in this half by Rod Stein. He's got 11. Grant Smith has 9. Max Perez has 9. He's hit 2 threes in the game. Lucas Lehrman has 5. Steve Helm has 5. Davison has 2. Brady Titus has 2. Indiana Tech was able to benefit off some turnovers that they forced. One of those turnovers was forced by Blake Davidson. Led to a Grant Smith run out, and then Rod Stein able to get a steal later in the half. Also scored on a dribble penetration off his own rebound. Stein went for a stretch there where he scored, I believe it was 7 straight points. We'll go ahead and show you those replays while we have a chance on our Summit City Sports replay. Rod Stein got the board and immediately took it to the cup right through 2 defenders. He would hit the free throw as well. And then we'll show you this replay as well. Stein defending Ballard, and Stein is able to get the steal. Ballard, all he can do is foul him from behind to prevent an easy dunk, but Stein would go to the line to make both of his free throws. And Indiana Tech is enjoying a 19-point lead. Their largest lead of this game was 23 points. Got some other Indiana Tech Warriors scores to update you on. The softball team's in action today, and we'll get you that score here in just a second. Softball team has doubleheaders today and tomorrow. Had a doubleheader against St. Francis back on Thursday. They swept that 7-1 in the first game, 13-10 in the second. Warriors did lose the first game of today's doubleheader to Olivet Nazarene. Puts them at 4-1 on the season. Game 2 started at 2 o'clock, and Warriors are trailing that one. It's 1-0 in the top of the 5th, and Olivet has got a runner on base with 1 out in that inning. Of course, Indiana Tech had a great run. Slow start to last season, but they made a great run in conference play and even got a big doubleheader sweep against Aquinas. Well, the men's basketball team leading 47-28 here. The women's basketball team takes the court for their semifinal game in the WAC Conference Tournament. That will be against Cornerstone. They're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Cornerstone was the team that Rochester defeated to get to this semifinal round today. Women's game set to tip off at about 5:30. We're back in just a matter of moments. You're watching Indiana Tech basketball. It's brought to you by SummitCitySports.com.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260s dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior.
Got about a minute to go before the second half gets underway. Indiana Tech leading by 19. Back for the start of the second half here on SummitCitySports.com and Indiana Tech Warrior Basketball.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Indiana Tech with the lead, 47-28 as we go to the second half. Rochester starts with the basketball. And by the way, Indiana Tech men's hockey is in action right now. They're in the WAC tournament, taking on Concordia Ann Arbor. That left-handed shot is good. And it's Kukoc who knocks it down for Rochester. Get you an update on that hockey game here in just a moment. Actually, looks like the game has not started yet. Scheduled for 3 o'clock. They believe they've got a busy day over there at the Parkview Sport 1 Ice House, which is where Indiana Tech plays, as Klein got tangled up with Stavros Polatoglu. Foul was called before that. It was on Polatoglu. That's the first foul of the half on either team. Smith will lob it into Stein. Klein is able to chase down the ball. They get it back to him. One-on-one. Klein. No good. Polatoglu has the board for Rochester. Walters feeds it inside to Polatoglu. Polatoglu with Klein on him. Ballard tried to slip it through, and Smith's got the steal. Smith double teamed, finds Klein. Klein spins around off the iron. Looked like Klein had the look, but he could not finish. Here's Gunnar Walters down the floor. Slips it back to Stavros Polatoglu. Walters, his three is good. That's 5 straight points to start the second half for Rochester. Indiana Tech had a 23-point lead, and Rochester got it as close as 15 late in the first half. Warriors have the starters back in. So far, they haven't scored since the start of the second half. That's McKinney with the jumper, and he drains it. Corey McKinney gets him off the schneid. Walters will back it out. He looks for help, zips it inside, and it's stolen. Blake Davison jumped the pass. Smith uses the screen from Stein. They got Klein on the opposite block. McKinney was trying to get it to him, and it's knocked away. Down the floor for Macrina. Walters will go down the baseline. Polatoglu into the paint, down to 6 seconds. Up over Klein, missed the shot. Klein's got the board. Smith the dish to Klein. He'll go outside to Davison, and Davison will reset as Klein sets the screen for him. They get it to Klein, and Klein has it roll right out. Klein has had some good looks on the inside, but he's not been able to make his shots yet in the second half. Josh Klein had 4 points in the first half. Corner three won't fall. Klein's got the board. Foul's called on the pass. That's going to be on James Ballard. Looked like he had a hold of Stein's arm. Smith puts it into Stein. Stein with one dribble has it ripped away. Brandon Macrina with the steal. Walters with McKinney on him. Has it knocked away, but right into the hands of Macrina, and Macrina's jumper doesn't fall. Indiana Tech only 2 points so far in the second half. They've had some good looks, but haven't been able to finish. Trying to shake off a turnover on the last possession is Smith. A little bit too strong off the glass. Macrina the board, and he finds Walters. Walters wide open for three. Yes! Gunnar Walters hits his second three. And all of a sudden, Rochester has an 8-2 run going to start the second half. Indiana Tech's had a lot of good looks on the inside, but have not been able to get them to go. Josh Klein has had some touches in the paint, and some shots that looked like they were halfway down that he wasn't able to make. Ted Albert calls the time here. We've got 15:57 to go. The winner of this game moves on to the championship round. It's coming Tuesday. Winner of this game faces the winner of Madonna versus Lourdes. Madonna's the 3rd seed, Lourdes is the 2nd seed. And right now it's Lourdes leading 37-35 over Madonna, and it looks like they're just getting the second half underway. Well, Lourdes was champions of the WAC conference last year, and they knocked off Indiana Tech to get that championship crown. They were here for the regular season finale. Tech won that. That was just a week ago. But a good start to the second half for Rochester. They were down by 23 points in the first half. Cut it down to 13. Again, we remind you, women's basketball to follow the men's game. Indiana Tech women will be taking on Cornerstone out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Corey McKinney comes across the timeline. McKinney in a crowd of defenders. They find Smith. Smith into the paint. Up with the shot. It's an air ball. Stein collects and puts it in. That's 13 points for Stein, the graduate student out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Wide open was Kukoc, but that's an offensive foul, a moving screen called on Stavros Politoglu. Warriors take over. Lehrman and Helm will come into the game, as will James Fisher and Demarion Bonds for Rochester. Stein sets the screen for McKinney. They got Lehrman posting up down low. Lehrman backs down with the jump hook, too short. Bonds down the floor. Fisher sets the screen. On the drive, it's Kukoc, and a foul is called. Steve Helm called for the foul. That is his third. Ted Albert had some frustration with that last call. Kukoc has it rim out. The second one's good. Rochester looking to make a comeback after they were down by 23 points in the first half. Indiana Tech won by 27 last time Rochester was here. As Stein has it blocked on the inside, Smith recovers. He's going to be called for the offensive foul. It's going right back the other way. 14:35 on the clock. That's only Smith's first. It's just the second team foul this half called on the Warriors. Walters across the timeline. Over the top of Lehrman, missed it, and McKinney has the board. McKinney through traffic. Into the paint. Dish outside to Smith. Smith's three is no good. Lehrman battled for it. It's out of bounds. Demarion Woods brings the ball across the timeline. Indiana Tech saw a 15-point lead nearly slip away on Thursday night as Bonds hits a three ball, leads down to 11. Warriors were able to get it going in the second half. They ended up winning by 15. But today they've seen a 23-point lead slip down to 11. And if they don't score here, we could be looking at a single-digit game by the next possession. But Helm does put it in over an outstretched defender. Bonds around the screen. That's Kukoc on the drive. Left-handed layup is good. Anthony Kukoc. McKinney drives. On the edge of the paint, he finds Perez. Perez might have been trying to find Lehrman. Lehrman knocks it back to him. And Perez will bury the three plus the foul. That's Perez's fourth three of the game on what looked like a turnover waiting to happen. A lot going on here. We'll see if we can't show it to you in time on this on this Summit City Sports replay. Lehrman fought for the ball, got it back to Perez. He hit the three and then was knocked down there on the shot, and Perez will go to the line. A 4-point play for Max Perez. He's hit 4 threes in the game, and boy, was that bucket needed for Indiana Tech. As Ballard drives into the paint. Dishes outside to Kukoc. Kukoc contested, but puts it in. And then a timeout is taken by Rochester. While they take a timeout, we will also take one. You are watching Indiana Tech Warrior Basketball, brought to you by SummitCitySports.com.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything.
(57-44), Indiana Tech on top, looking to make it to the championship round in the WAC tournament. They got there last year and were knocked off by Lourdes. They'll either play Lourdes or Madonna if they get there this year, as Raj Stein knocks that one down. Raj Stein had that stretch of 7 straight points in the first half, helped the Warriors build up a 23-point lead. That's their largest lead of the game so far. That's going to be a foul against Indiana Tech. It's on Corey McKinney. That's McKinney's third foul. He and Helm both have committed 3 fouls in this game. 12-11 to play. Inbound will go to Gunnar Walters. Walters, the floater. Rolls right off, and Perez has got the board. Perez pushing past Ballard. He slows it down, finds Stein. Helm looking for Lehrman down low. His arm was being held down there. There was not a foul called. It sure looked like his arm was being held, and that's exactly what he's lobbying. It will be Warriors basketball. Perez uses the screen from Stein. Shot clock is at 7. Stein from the free throw line. Too strong, off the hands of Lehrman. Ballard down the baseline, able to finish. First bucket of the second half for Ballard. Comes into this game as the leading scorer for Rochester. McKinney trying to get through traffic. It's off of Helm and out of bounds. And Brady Titus will re-enter for the Warriors. Indiana Tech men's and women's teams will get to host the first and second round of the NAIA tournament, which at this point are scheduled to be played on March 7th and March 8th. In case you're wondering what days of the week those are, March 7th is a Tuesday and March 8th is a Wednesday. It's not this coming week, but it's the following week. That's an air ball. Titus with the rebound. Titus will let Steve Helm take it. Defender falls down. They get it to Helm. He spins around, and it's ripped away, but Perez comes up with it. Titus rises up. His jumper won't fall. It's Ballard who collects. Bonds the drive. The dish and the jam by James Fisher. And it's an 11-point game. Indiana Tech, their largest lead was 23. They led by 19 at halftime off a Max Perez 3, and that's nearly taken away, and Ballard does come up with a steal. And now Rochester can get this to a single-digit game. Demarion Bonds from the corner. That's an air ball. Lehrman's got the rebound. And Brady Titus is going to call for a timeout there. Well, while they take a timeout, we will also take one. Indiana Tech trying to hold on.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
We do have an update for you. Looks like Indiana Tech men's hockey is underway against Concordia in the WAC semifinals, and the Warriors are down in that one 2-0. Here at the Schaefer Center, Indiana Tech is leading by 11, but their lead was once 23. Rochester has made it a ball game. Winner of this game moves on to play either Madonna or Lourdes in the championship game. If Indiana Tech wins, they will host, whether it's Madonna or Lourdes who ends up coming here. If Rochester wins, they're the 4th seed, so they'll go on the road. Rochester still has some ways to go to come back, but they've already trimmed a 23-point lead down to 11. It was a 19-point lead for Tech at halftime. Back outside to Brady Titus. Stein on the block, backing in. Puts it up too strong. Another one of those shots that was a good look, much like early this half, that didn't go for Indiana Tech. They'll get another chance, and Stein appears to be hurt. Official calls a timeout, an official's timeout, and he'll have the trainer come out and take a look at him. Stein might be bleeding. They're going to sop that up, and we'll take an injury timeout here on Warrior Basketball.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes.
Back to the action. Stein is off the court. That three won't go for Max Perez. He was fouled on the shot. They call the foul on Anthony Kukoc. And actually they're saying it was not on the shot. Extra 20 seconds for Indiana Tech as Titus swings it cross court to Perez. They got Lehrman calling for it down low. Lehrman dishes outside to Perez. 6 on the clock. Perez to the corner for Helm. Shot clock at 2. He just got it off, could not connect. Luciani with the board, and he was fouled. It's before the shot. Fouled with a brand new shot clock. And Indiana Tech again will keep possession. But it's a long, continuous possession. Only good thing about this possession, if you're a Warriors fan, is the Warriors are taking some time off the clock, but that's not quite as good when you factor in that there's still 9 minutes left. Luciani backing down. He's got 2 defenders on him, comes up short. And a foul called on the Warriors. It was Bonds who got the rebound, and I think they're going to get Lehrman. Indeed they are. That previous foul had been on James Ballard. He's got 4 fouls, so that's something to watch out for the rest of this game. And the officials are going to have him re-inbound. And then we've got a technical foul called on Indiana Tech, called against the Warrior bench. This is going to be 2 shots in the ball for Rochester. Well, they said it came from the Warrior bench, from the Indiana Tech bench, that is. They didn't say if it came from Ted Albert or one of the players. It's Brandon Macrina who's going to shoot the technicals, and he's got it down to a 10-point game. Actually be 1 shot on the ball. Rod Stein will come back in. Good to see that he's able to come back on the floor. Bonds around the screen. Here's Walters. Helm stays on him. Walters, the step back, got it. 8-point game. Gunnar Walters with 12 points. And we're going to have a foul call, perhaps double fouls, or is it going to be double technicals? Official was pointing at both Helm It's double technicals on Gunnar Walters of Rochester and Steve Helm of Indiana Tech. Well, that's 2 technicals called on the Warriors of Indiana Tech and 1 so far called on the Warriors of Rochester. It's going to be Tech basketball. Their lead that was once 23 is now down to 8. Indiana Tech trying to punch a ticket to the WAC championship, but needing to regain momentum. Davison around the screen, and a foul is called. That's going to be on Braylon Toney. And that's the 8th team foul against Rochester. This will be 1-1 for Blake Davison. That's the Indiana Tech women's team heading to the locker room. They'll take the court here at about 5:30. They'll take the court probably closer to 5 for their warm-ups, as they'll be taking on Cornerstone in their semifinal. It's been a rather quiet game for Blake Davison. He's up to 3 points, make it 4, but some big free throws there. And another timeout called. We'll take it right along with him. Indiana Tech trying to hold on for the win. This broadcast is brought to you by SummitCitySports.com.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
61-51. Indiana Tech was up by 23 in the first half. Their lead was 19 at halftime. But even after the Warriors got that 23-point lead, Rochester started to get some momentum back. Went on a spurt where they scored, I believe it was 8 straight points. Max Perez closed out the half with a three, what was at the time his third three of the game. Well, the Warrior women's team is waiting down there outside the locker room. They'll be taking the court for a 5:30 matchup with Cornerstone after this game's all said and done. Here's Demarion Bonds. He goes to the baseline, pulls up for the jumper and rattles it home. And once again, it's a single-digit lead. Titus. He's looking for Klein. It's past him and out of bounds. And Rochester can get this to a 2-score game. This is Braylon Toney handling for Rochester. Now, James Ballard, who came into this game as the leading scorer, has 4 fouls. He's been held to just 6 points so far in this game, though. Here's Toney around the screen. He goes inside to James Fisher. Fisher with Klein on him. Right over Klein. Short. And Titus has the board for Indiana Tech. Titus almost lost the ball. He did get it back and finds Blake Davison. Davison slows it down. Trying to get to the paint. Stein finds Davison. Davison scores. Much needed bucket for the Warriors. So they get it back to a 10-point game. Trying to get back-to-back stops. That's been a rare thing in the second half as Bonds pulls up for the jumper. No good, but there's your second straight stop. Indiana Tech had been outscored 25 to 14 not long ago. Now they've been outscored 25-16, but Luciani will back down toward the post. His hook shot's too strong. Bonds snatches the rebound. Still a lot of basketball to be played here at the Schaefer Center as Toney uses the screen from Fisher. Shot clock at 7. It's Bonds. Dishes out to Toney. Contested three. Toney puts it home. Big time three. Braylon Toney. That's his second field goal of the game, and it's a 7-point ball game. Here's Stein. Gets past Klein, and Stein puts it home. Rod Stein is the leading scorer for Tech for this game. He's got 17 points. Was voted the WAC Conference Player of the Year. Those announcements came out just yesterday. Reached his hand out and almost got a steal from Ballard. Ballard trying to cross him up. Wants the step back, and Ballard hits. And then an immediate timeout called by Clint Pleasant. Rochester not going away. And we'll come back in a moment on this broadcast of Warrior basketball.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior.
Warriors' lead was once 23. It's down to 7. Rod Stein has been the leading scorer for this game. He dishes that one to Klein, and Klein just drops it home. But stops have been hard to come by for the Warriors this second half. They'll get one here, though. Ethan Walters missed the jumper. Excuse me, Gunnar Walters is his name, not Ethan. As Stein sets the screen for McKinney. Ballard staying with Stein the whole way. Stein spins around, off glass and in. That gives Stein 19 points, and Indiana Tech has it back to a double-digit lead. Wide open is Kukoc. His three rattles out. Corey McKinney collects for Tech. Stein sets the screen for McKinney through traffic, looking for Klein, and Klein will regather on the baseline. Has the ball tipped out to Smith. Smith fakes it. Ted Albert wanted a foul, didn't get one. Now he will as Smith goes up for the shot. Demarion Bonds tagged with the foul. For Demarion Bonds, that's only his first foul of the game. Smith could not connect on the first free throw. He goes 0 for 2. Stavros Polatoglu with the box out there. Rochester was defeated by 27 points last time they were here. We're down by 23 earlier in this game, trying to fight back. No traveling call there on Bonds. His shot doesn't go, though. And it's Grant Smith who collects the board for Indiana Tech. That was nearly a turnover. McKinney fortunately able to avoid that. 3.5 minutes to go as Tech is looking to punch their ticket to a WAC Conference Championship. And that can only help as Corey McKinney knocks it down. Ballard will set the screen for Walters. Stein picks up Walters. Walters for three, and he puts it home. Gunnar Walters with a step-back three, and traveling is the call. It's going right back to Rochester. 2:59 to go. This game's not over just yet. Remember, the girls' game is scheduled to start at 5:30. We'll get about possibly 45 minutes before that game starts, unless this game goes into overtime, which is still a possibility, but Klein trying to make sure that doesn't happen. And Davison on the run out, short, out of bounds, Tech ball. Josh Klein with the big block on the other end, with 2:45 to go. Stein catches and finds McKinney. Klein wants to back down on Polatoglu. Over the top, able to put it home. Josh Klein able to roll it in. Give him 8 for the game. There's Tony. Kukoc is fouled. That's Davidson. Davison didn't think he fouled him, and apparently Grant Smith didn't either. It's the 7th team foul on Indiana Tech, and that will send Anthony Kukoc to the free throw line. You see the women's team warming up there on the upper level. It's got a small indoor track here at the Schaefer Center. It's only a 2-lane track. By the way, in case you are wondering where Indiana Tech has their track meets, well, their indoor track meets take place at Turnstone here in Fort Wayne. It's a Paralympic training facility. And they also have their outdoor track facility over at Warrior Park, the athletic complex where the softball field is located. Speaking of softball, the softball team was trying to avoid being swept in a doubleheader against Olivet Nazarene. We'll check on that when we get a chance to. Coming up on 2 minutes to go here as Smith feeds that one off to Stein. Stephanie Zimney and the Warriors had a great run in conference play after a slow start to the season. This foul's going to be on Rochester. I think the signal was 1, and it was. That's the 5th foul on James Ballard. He has fouled out of the game. Ballard came into this game as Rochester's leading scorer and seemed to be surprised by the call, either surprised by the call or maybe he'd lost track of how many fouls he committed, but scoreboard says that's his 5th. And this is double bonus for Raj Stein. Got a chance to go 2 for 2. Stein, the WAC Conference Player of the Year in men's basketball, is up to 20 points in the game. He goes 1 for 2, and McKinney knocks that out of bounds. It'll go right back to Rochester. Warriors with a 12-point lead, and Stein threw that thing almost like a baseball. Haven't gotten any word on what's going on with the baseball team. They're scheduled to play St. Ambrose University of Iowa today. Scheduled to start at noon. There's Grant Smith with a takeaway. Behind the back dribble, Smith. Can he finish? Yes, plus the foul. Braylon Toney called for the foul, and Smith goes to the line to try and complete a 3-point play. Rochester was down by 23. They had gotten this game as close as a 7-point deficit, but it's back up to 15 as Smith does indeed complete the 3-point play. Davison on Toney. Toney gets by him to the basket. Braylon Toney, the junior out of River Rouge, Michigan. And a timeout is called. We'll take a timeout with them here on this broadcast of Warrior basketball.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Well, Rochester was giving Indiana Tech a scare for most of this second half, but Indiana Tech now leads it by 13 with 1:29 to go. By the way, Madonna is leading Lourdes 73-70. That game's got 5:07 to go in the second half. The winner of that game plays the winner of this game in the championship game of the WAC tournament, which at this point is scheduled for Tuesday. Start time still to be determined. Smith finds Davison, and Davison races across the timeline. Finds Stein. Klein will put it home. Quick down the floor comes Kukoc. It's out of bounds off the Warriors. Remember, Indiana Tech women's basketball takes the court after this men's game is all said and done. They'll take the court against Cornerstone and try to punch their ticket to a WAC championship game. And the women's WAC championship game is currently scheduled for Monday as Braylon Toney hits the baseline J. Davidson through traffic, able to keep control. Smith just had gotten across the timeline, and the Warriors look like they're going to try and drain some time off the shot clock, or they would be doing that had Blake Davidson not been fouled. Demarion Bonds called for the foul. 57.8 left to go in the ball game as Davison is true on the free throw. Davison had a rather low-scoring game tonight. He's a guy who averages double figures. So far, he's been held to just 7. 1 for 2, and the rebound's pulled down by Gunnar Walters. And Walters throws it away. Long inbound to Klein. Davison through traffic. McKinney reaches up to make the catch, and he gets fouled. Warriors are already in the double bonus, so every foul the rest of the way will lead to 2 free throws, except for offensive fouls. McKinney is true on the first free throw. Graduate student out of South Bend, Washington. Their girls team had been undefeated up until they ran into Lake Central at semi-state last week. This coming week, by the way, boys basketball playoffs start in the state of Indiana as McKinney goes 2 for 2. Foul is called. The basket will count. It's Demarion Bonds who puts it in. Foul is on Josh Klein. And are they saying that there was a technical? Well, we'll get an explanation here. They said black 10 for the technical. That's Demarion Bonds. So before he tries to complete a three-point play, Rod Stein is going to get a couple of free throws here with 40.4 seconds to play. Now each team has committed 2 technicals. Stein couldn't hit the first free throw. Just 40.4 seconds left to play in this game. You might see some of the women's players up there on the upper level trying to cheer on the men as they try to finish out this game. It looks like they're going to the WAC finals. As Stein goes 0 for 2 on an otherwise impressive night. He's got 20 points. Stein was yesterday named the WAC Conference Player of the Year. Demarion Bonds, who just committed the technical, goes to the line. And Bonds is able to complete the three-point play. He's a freshman out of Pontiac, Michigan. As Indiana Tech will try and get the ball across the timeline, and only a 10-second differential between shot clock and game clock. McKinney's foul. That only took 2 seconds off the clock. Every foul is 2 free throws the rest of the way. Every foul from Rochester, that is, except for offensive fouls, as McKinney is able to get the first one to go. Quick down the floor comes Walters, and he throws it out of bounds. And now they're going to say that it was off of Tech. Walters will let it fly, and Walters hits a three. Inbound goes to Smith. He finds McKinney, and McKinney is just going to let some time tick off the clock. Rochester gave him a bit of a scare in the second half and even started to give him that scare late in the first half, but Indiana Tech's able to close it out. And Indiana Tech is going back to the WAC Conference Championship. They'll face either Lourdes or Madonna. If they face Lourdes, it'd be a rematch of last year's final, which Indiana Tech lost. But right now, Madonna is leading that game 79-75. Here, it's an 85-73 win for Indiana Tech. And our Parkview Sports Medicine player of the game is Rod Stein. He's the WAC Conference Player of the Year, and he finishes this game with 20 points. Rod Stein, your Parkview Sports Medicine player of the game. That's going to do it from here at the Schaefer Center for Game 1 of our doubleheader. Game 2 comes your way at about 5:30. Indiana Tech taking on Cornerstone in women's basketball, trying to punch their ticket to a WAC Conference title. We know the men are going to the WAC Conference title. Will the women join them? The men will host the WAC Conference title here. At this point, it's scheduled for Tuesday. Time is yet to be determined. And the opponent is yet to be determined, although Madonna's starting to pull away from Lourdes. They're now up 84-75. But in the meantime, we're back for women's basketball in just a matter of moments. That game will start in about 50 minutes. You've been watching Warriors men's basketball, brought to you by SummitCitySports.com. We hope you'll tune in just under an hour for the women's game coming up next.
I think it's really important for freshmen to realize you get out of college what you put into it. If you dedicate yourself to your classes and to your projects and to what you're doing in college, you're going to have a really great experience here.
I wish someone would have told me my freshman year that it's important to prioritize, knowing what's important, what's not important, knowing what I need to do opposed to what I want to do.
The two things that I think all freshmen should know is buy a parking permit so you don't rack up a bunch of fines and tickets, and also make sure you go to class, because it seems like a good idea when you're skipping, but then it's not worth it in the end when you fail the test or don't turn in homework.
As an international student, my advice for the freshmen is to not be afraid to make friends, because your friends here will end up being your family away from home.
Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to put on, anything that you want to showcase on campus, you can. There's always people around to help you do what you want to do here.
Make sure that you always take time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, because college can be very overwhelming as far as like schoolwork and friends and sports and just like everyday life. Always just make sure that you get what you need to get done.
It's important to have a relationship with your professors, because you become more personable with them. You start to engage in the material more. They can give you recommendations, especially once you get out of college. You definitely want to put them down as like references, and if you have a better personal relationship, it just makes the whole learning experience go smoothly.
And Skyler Bolton. From Indiana Tech, Amaris Lowry. Bree Dawson. Camille Keys. Courtney Nicholas. WAC women's basketball champions and character team. These members best represent the 5 core values of integrity, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and servant leadership. When your name is called, please come to center field. From Cornerstone, senior Skylar Stolzen. And from Indiana Tech, Corinne Smith. We would also like to recognize Cornerstone's Jessica Yorkers as our champions of character coach for outstanding display of character during the season. Now help us recognize our all-conference awards as voted on by all head coaches. Again, please meet at center court when your name is announced. The all-defensive team, Erica Foy, a senior from Indiana Tech. From Cornerstone, sophomore Stephanie Ainsworth. And now, our old freshman team. From Indiana Tech, Taylor Covington. From Cornerstone, Jackson Long. Now we would like to recognize the second team all-conference team. First, from Cornerstone, junior Kennedy Holderrock. And from Indiana Tech, sophomore Jody Decker. And now, the white women's basketball first team all conference. From Cornerstone, sophomore Rochester, Cameron Sutton, Elijah Parrish, and Jordan Beehouse. The WAC is also focused on service to our communities for the men's teams, developing life skills through character-driven athletics. One player for each team is selected by the coach to be a part of the 2023 WAC Men's Champion Character Team. From Indiana Tech, senior Tyler Canfield. Please recognize the players here for an all-conference award as voted by all head coaches. If you're present, come to center court. The all-defensive team from Indiana Tech, senior Corey McKinney. Our all-freshman team, Gunnar Walters from
Well, a little award ceremony there to close out the men's basketball game and lead into the women's basketball game. Just to give you a little recap, Ted Albert takes home WAC Conference Coach of the Year for men's basketball. For women's basketball, Jesse Biggs takes home the honor of Coach of the Year in the WAC Conference. WAC Conference Women's Player of the Year was Kyra Whitaker. WAC Conference Men's Player of the Year was Raj Stein. Just a few of the awards dished out here between games at the Schaefer Center. And that's going to do it for the men's basketball game and, of course, the award ceremony. The women's game comes your way in about half an hour. Indiana Tech will be taking on Cornerstone in women's basketball. Winner punches their ticket to the WAC Conference Championship, which is scheduled for this coming Monday. Time, I believe, is to be announced. We'll hope to have more on that later on in the women's broadcast. And we hope you'll join us for that broadcast coming up in a matter of moments.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our camera. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.